Word roots. Unlock English power. Introduction. Do you ever see a word and just stop? Like you hit a wall? You know some words, but English has so many, right? It feels like there are always more to learn, and it can feel like you have to remember what they all mean forever. We've all tried to cram definitions into our heads, hoping they would stay. But what if there's a better, stronger way to really get words, not just remember them? What if the way to unlock many words is already inside the words themselves? For many of us, learning new words meant long lists, cards with words, and hoping that saying them over and over would help. This can feel like work, and often, the words we learn this way don't feel like ours. We might know them, but really understanding them, or how they connect to other words, can be hard. It's like learning a few facts without seeing the whole story. This can be sad, making us feel like we're always a little behind, especially with those long, fancy words that seem to have a secret. But what if that secret is simpler than we think? This book is about a smarter, more natural way to grow your word knowledge. It's called Learning by Word Parts. What does that mean? It's about understanding where words come from. We will look at the cool story of English, going back to old languages like Latin and Greek. These are like the parents of many English words. You will see how a lot of words, especially the tricky ones, are made from these old roots. Think of these roots like the basic pieces, like Lego bricks. Once you know what a few basic bricks look like, you can start to build and understand many different things. Learning word roots is like knowing those basic pieces, giving you the power to figure out what many related words mean. It's a way to make strong links in your mind, making words easier to remember and understand, and helping you get their small differences. This makes learning words a fun trip, not just a job. By learning these word roots, you will find that words are easier to remember. Instead of just a meaning, you will have a story, a link, a reason why a word means what it does. This makes remembering it much more sure. You will go from just knowing what a word means to understanding why it has that meaning. This deeper knowing helps you use words better and with more trust. It is very helpful for those long, complex words that often look scary at first. Once you see the roots, they often become much clearer. You will be able to learn new words much faster, because understanding one root can show you the meaning of many words that use it. And as your words grow and your knowing gets deeper, so will your trust in everything you do with English, reading, writing, and talking. You will start to see the beauty and connection in the language itself. In the parts that follow, we will travel through the most important roots from Latin and Greek. We will look at common starts and ends and the main root words that make up a lot of English words. Each part is made to be clear and easy to follow, with real examples showing you how these roots work in words you see and hear every day. This book is your guide to finding the hidden power in English, helping you talk better and with more trust. So, are you ready to stop just memorizing and start really understanding? Are you ready to find the power waiting inside the words around you? Let's start this journey together. 1. The history of English words. English is a big, old house with many rooms. It grew over a long time. People from different places brought their own words and ways of talking. Learning where words come from is like finding a secret map. It helps you know what a word means and why. It's like solving a fun puzzle, not just a long list. Think of the word nice. Now, it means kind or pleasant. But long ago, it meant silly or foolish. How did we get from silly to pleasant? We'll go on a trip through time to see. The story of words is the story of people, of changes, and of how languages share. English began with tribes from what is now Germany and Denmark. They came to Britain and spoke what we call Old English. It sounded like German or Dutch. Words like king, house, and man are from this old language. They are like the first, strong coat of paint on our old house. Then big changes happened. In 1066, people from France, called Normans, came to England. They spoke French and became the leaders. For a long time, the rulers spoke French. Most people still spoke English. But the languages started to mix. This mix brought many French words into English. These words were often about things the rulers cared about: government, laws, and fancy food. We kept pig from Old English. But when it was cooked, it became pork from French. The animal was cow, but the meat was beef. The animal was sheep, but the meat was mutton. French words often meant the fancier or more official things, while English words meant the everyday things. Look at law words. Judge, jury, and court are from French. In government, we got parliament and state. Fancy food words like beef and pork also came from French. It was like adding new, fancy rooms to our old house. English now had two kinds of words for many things: simple, old ones, and more fancy, new ones. Then, another big change came around the 1300s. This was a time called the Renaissance. People in Europe looked back at old Greece and Rome. They loved the old writings about science, thinking, and art. England was changing too. People needed new words for new ideas and big topics. English didn't have enough words. So, smart people looked at Latin and Greek, the old languages. They didn't just take words. They took the parts of words, called roots, from Latin and Greek and made new English words. This is where learning words becomes exciting. Latin and Greek have clear word parts, like building blocks. Knowing these blocks helps you see how many words are related, even if they look different. For example, the Latin word videre means to see. From this, we get vision, to see; visible, can be seen; evidence, proof that can be seen; interview, people see and talk; provide, to look ahead for what is needed. See how many words come from the idea of seeing. This is the power of knowing word history. Another example is from Greek. The Greek word phone means sound. From this, we get telephone, sound from far away; microphone, makes small sounds big; symphony, sounds that come together; phonetic, about speech sounds. During the Renaissance, many words were made from Latin and Greek. This made English a stronger language for big ideas. That's why science, medicine, and law words often come from Latin and Greek. If you know the root, you can often guess the meaning. Let's answer a question. What two big events changed English the most, and what kinds of words did they bring? The first big event was the Norman conquest in 1066. This brought many French words. These words were often about power, laws, and fancy things like food. Think of words like government, judge, jury, royal, noble, beef, and pork. These words became part of the language of the leaders and then spread to everyone. The second big change was the Renaissance, starting around the 1300s. This time, people borrowed and made words from Latin and Greek. They used these words for science, thinking, and difficult subjects. These were words for new discoveries and complex ideas. Examples are words like science, philosophy, biology, medicine, and education. This gave English words for learning and talking about hard topics. Now, let's answer another question. How did Latin and Greek words help make words for learning and special subjects? Smart people during the Renaissance wanted English to be a language of learning. They thought Latin and Greek were very exact. When they needed a word for a new discovery, they looked at Latin and Greek roots. This helped them make words that meant very specific things. For example, for stars, they used the Greek word aster meaning star and logos meaning study. This gave us astronomy. For the heart, they used the Latin word cor meaning heart. This gave us cardiac and pericardium. This was helpful because 1. Exactness. Latin and Greek roots have clear meanings. This helped create words that described ideas very accurately, which is important for learning. 2. Shared knowledge. Many languages used Latin and Greek. This helped people in different countries understand each other's work. 3. Speed. Instead of making up new words, they used old, known roots. This made it faster to add words. 4. Easier to remember. For learners, knowing roots helps. If you know Benny in Latin means good, you know a benevolent person is someone who does good things. So, the Renaissance didn't just bring back old words. It used old language parts to build new words for new ideas. English still changes today. We borrow words from all over the world because of travel, trade, and the internet. Words like sushi from Japanese and algebra from Arabic are now common. English is a living language, always ready for new words. Knowing this history is like looking at the layers of paint on our old house. You see the strong German base, the fancy French parts, and the elegant classical additions. Each part tells a story. For us, these historical layers are keys to understanding words. This rich history shows that many complex words are not new. They come from old, strong languages. Learning word roots, especially from Latin and Greek, is a direct way to understand and remember words. It's about seeing the deep connections that make our language so rich. 2. Learning new words effectively. Learning new words can be like finding puzzle pieces. You find a word, learn what it means for a little while, and then it's gone, like a sound that fades. This happens because learning words can feel like memorizing a long list of things that don't seem connected. It's hard work, and the words don't always stay with you. But what if there was an easier, more natural way to learn words, maybe even a fun way? What if learning words felt less like trying to remember and more like finding hidden links between them? This is where knowing where words come from, their roots, can change everything. Imagine you're not just seeing one puzzle piece, but how it fits into a much bigger, beautiful picture. Learning about word origins, which is how words are made and where they come from, gives you this bigger picture. It's like having a secret map for all the words in English. By learning these beginnings, especially from old languages like Latin and Greek, you create strong mental links to what words mean. This makes it easier to remember new words, especially hard or fancy ones, and helps you understand their small differences in meaning. It's a smart and natural way to build a stronger word list and get better at English. Let's see how this strong method can change how you learn new words. Word roots is a memory house for words. Think of a big, old house where you keep all your important memories. Each room is for a different part of your life, and in each room, special things help you remember details. This is your memory house. Now, let's build a house like this for your words. When you learn a word's root, you're not just learning what it means. You're learning the main idea, the basic piece it's built from. This root is like the door to a room in your memory house. For example, look at the Latin root spect. It just means to look or to see. Now, when you see a word like spectacle, you don't just see a new word. You see spect inside it. You know spect means to look. So, a spectacle is something you look at, something to be seen. It's a show, something amazing to see. This link is very strong. Instead of a single word you have to force into your brain, spectacle is now linked to an idea you know, looking. And it doesn't end there. The spect root is the start of many English words. Think about inspect. You know spect means to look. What about in? In Latin, in can mean into or on. So, inspect means to look into something, to check it very closely. When you inspect something, you are looking into its details. Then there's spectator. We have spect to look, and ator often means someone who does something. So, a spectator is someone who looks, someone who watches an event. And what about perspective? Here, per means through. So, perspective is a way of looking through something, or a way of seeing things from a certain point of view. When someone asks you to think about another person's perspective, they want you to see things from their viewpoint. See how it works. By understanding the single root spect, you have learned the meaning of at least 4 different words: spectacle, inspect, spectator, and perspective. Each new word is not a stranger, but like a cousin, related to the first idea. You are not just memorizing meanings. You are building a family tree of words, and each root is like the grandparent that connects them all. This creates strong mental links, making remembering much easier. It's like having a key that opens many doors in your word house. Finding the meaning of hard and school words. Many of the words that seem most scary in English, especially those in books, science papers, or serious talks, are built from these same Latin and Greek beginnings. These are the words that can make a subject seem too hard. But by learning word origins, these hard words become surprisingly easy to understand. Let's take the Greek root graph. It means to write. This simple root is the start of so many words. Look at autograph. Auto in Greek means self. So, an autograph is really a self-writing, a person's own signature. What about biography? Bio means life. So, a biography is a writing of a life, the story of someone's life written by someone else. And calligraphy? Kalos is Greek for beauty. So, calligraphy is beautiful writing. Even very complex words often have roots you can see. Take photosynthesis. This word might seem very technical, but break it down. Photo is Greek for light. Synthesis comes from the Greek word synthesis, meaning putting together. So, photosynthesis is the process where plants put together something using light. This is how plants make their food. Suddenly, the complex word becomes a description of a process you can imagine. When you read a school paper and see a word like benevolent, you might not know it. But if you know the Latin root bene, meaning good or well, and the Latin root voler, meaning to wish or to want, you can figure it out. A benevolent person is someone who wishes well for others. They are kind and giving. The good thing about this is you don't need to learn each of these words from the very beginning. By learning a few common roots, you get the power to understand hundreds, even thousands, of words. This is very helpful for school and work words, which often use special terms from old languages. Instead of feeling lost by long, new words, you can face them with confidence, looking for the familiar roots that show you their meaning. It's like having a secret code for the English language. The natural jump in understanding. One of the most exciting parts of learning word origins is the natural jump it lets you make. Learning by simply remembering often feels like forcing information into your brain. You say a word and its meaning many times, hoping it will stick. But learning word origins feels more like discovering something naturally. When you see a new word, your mind can often make a good guess about its meaning based on the roots you already know. This is a natural process because it doesn't feel like hard work. It feels like understanding. Imagine you are reading a book and you see the word aquatic. If you know that the Latin root aqua means water, you can immediately understand that aquatic is about water. Things that are aquatic live in or are connected to water. Now think about the word aqueduct. We have aqua water and duct from the Latin ducere, meaning to lead or to carry. So, an aqueduct is a thing that carries water. It's a channel or pipe for water. This ability to guess the meaning is very powerful. It makes reading smoother and less stopped. Instead of stopping every few minutes to look up a word, you can often understand its meaning from the words around it and its familiar roots. This makes learning feel less like a chore and more like an exciting discovery. You are not just passively getting information, you are actively using the language, using what you already know to build new understanding. This natural link makes the words feel more like yours, and so you are much more likely to remember them for a long time. It's this feeling of aha that truly makes new words stick. More than simple meanings, how words fit and their small differences. A simple dictionary meaning tells you what a word means, but word origins can tell you why it means that, and often show you deeper meanings. Knowing a word start can reveal small differences that you might miss otherwise. Let's look at the word ambition. The Latin root is ambulare, meaning to walk. Now, how does walking connect to ambition? In old times, when someone wanted a political job or to be in charge, they would often walk around town asking for votes and trying to get support. So, ambition at first meant the act of going around to get votes or favor. Over time, it became the strong wish to succeed, gain power, or be famous, a drive that often needs a lot of walking or effort. Knowing this origin helps us understand the active, sometimes never stopping, nature of ambition. Another example is the word disaster. It comes from the Italian word disastro, which is made of dis, a bad prefix, and astro, star. In old times, people believed that stars had a direct effect on what happened to people. A disastro was a bad star pattern, a bad thing caused by the stars. So, a disaster is an event that seems to be caused by bad luck or bad stars. This origin gives the word a feeling of being something huge and beyond what people can control, adding a strong sense of drama to its meaning. By knowing these origins, you get a richer feeling for the word's history and the small shades of meaning it has. This depth makes your language more exact and your understanding deeper. It's like liking a painting not just for its colors, but for the story of how it was made and what the artist meant. Active vs. not active learning. Think about the difference between just watching someone cook on TV and actually trying to cook a meal yourself. Which one will you remember more? Cooking yourself, of course. Learning word origins is like that active cooking experience for your words. When you just read a meaning, you are like the person watching the cooking show. You see the food and the steps, but you don't truly learn the process. When you actively break down a word into its roots, beginnings, and endings, you are the cook. You are not just looking at the finished food. You are understanding how each ingredient root makes the flavor and texture meaning. Consider the word telephone. Tele is Greek for far. Phone is Greek for sound or voice. So, a telephone is a device that carries sound or voice from far away. When you actively break down telephone into tele and phone, you are not just memorizing a device for talking to people far away. You are working with the word's parts, understanding how they join to make the meaning. This active work leads to much deeper remembering. You are not just saving the word, you are understanding how it's built. This makes it much easier to recall the word and its meaning later. This active process also makes learning more fun. It turns learning words from a hard task into a detective game. You are always looking for clues, for familiar roots, for the hidden stories in words. This makes your mind sharp and your learning active. It's very different from boringly repeating flashcards. The power of links, the spect root again. Let's go back to our friend, the root spect, meaning to look. We saw how it connects spectacle, inspect, spectator, and perspective. But its reach goes much further, showing the huge connections that learning word origins reveals. Think about the word respect. 3. The importance of understanding word origins. Imagine you are building a wonderful house, maybe a big castle or a small cozy home. You have many things to use: wood, stone, glass, and shiny metal. What if you found out that each of these things had a story? What if the stone was from a place known for being strong, or the wood was from a tall, straight forest? Suddenly, your building project feels more special, right? You understand it better. You feel a connection to what you are using. Learning English words is like this. Think about the words you use every day. They might seem like just sounds or letters, but many words are like those building things. They have a history and a hidden structure. For a long time, I thought the best way to learn new words was to just remember lists of what they mean. You would see a word, read its meaning, try to keep it in your mind, and hope it would stay. But often it wouldn't. The word would disappear, and you might feel sad, wondering why some words don't stay. It felt like trying to hold water in your hands. Some slips through. Then something changed. It was like a light turned on. I started to see that some words, especially the longer, harder ones, were not just random letters. They seemed to be put together in a smart way, like they were made from smaller parts that have meaning. This is how I started to truly understand learning words by their history. It's learning how words are made and where they come from, often from old languages like Latin and Greek. By learning these beginnings, you make strong connections in your mind to the meaning of words, making them easier to remember and understand. So, what is the best thing you get from knowing where words come from, besides just having more words? It changes how you think about language. It makes you feel more in control and sure of yourself. When you see a word you don't know, instead of feeling scared or lost, you can often break it down like a puzzle. You can look for parts you know, the beginnings, endings, and main parts, and start to figure out its meaning. This isn't just about knowing more. It's about feeling strong enough to understand more when you read, listen, and speak. It's like getting a special key that opens many doors, not just one. Let's think of words as building blocks, like toy bricks. This is a good comparison because many English words are built this way. Think of the word telephone. If you break it down, you see tele and phone. You might know phone means sound, maybe from words like phonograph or microphone, and tele sounds like it means far away, maybe from words like telescope, which lets you see far away. So, telephone means sound from far away. See how that works? It's not magic, it's smart. The old Greeks, who gave us these parts, made them with a plan. By understanding these main parts, you can understand not just one word, but many words that use the same parts. This is how learning words by their history helps your memory in a natural way. When you learn a word's beginning, you are not just putting a meaning in your brain. You are creating a story, a reason, a connection. Instead of a random sound or letters, the word becomes part of a bigger, logical picture. Take the word transport. If you know that trans means across or through, like crossing a border, and port means to carry, like a place where goods are carried, then transport means to carry across. This connection in your mind is very strong. It's easier for your brain to remember to carry across than a separate meaning like to move from one place to another. This understanding makes the word feel familiar, even if you've only seen it once or twice. It's like meeting someone new and finding out they know your best friend. They suddenly feel less like a stranger. This way of learning is very helpful when you need to understand difficult or fancy words. These words can seem like big mountains you can't climb. But when you look closely, you will find that many of them are made from the same old parts that make simple words. Think of the word benevolent. It sounds very formal, doesn't it? But if you know that bene is an old word part meaning good like in benefit or benign, and vol is about wishing or will like in volunteer, then benevolence simply means wishing good or kind. Suddenly, that hard word becomes clear and easy. It's like having a secret code that lets you understand messages that were hidden. Important books and studies use these old word parts. By learning these beginnings, you get a big help in understanding hard subjects. One of the most exciting things about learning word origins is how much time it saves. When you learn a word part, you are not just learning one word, you are learning the chance for many. Think of the old word part spec, which means to look or to see. Once you understand this part, you can unlock many words. You have spectator, someone who looks. You have inspect, to look into something. Spectacles are things you look through. Perspective is a way of looking at things. And retrospect is looking back. Each of these words, with its own meaning, is linked by the simple idea of looking. Instead of remembering each word one by one, you learn the main idea and then see how it fits in different situations. This makes learning words much faster and more fun. It's like learning a few basic cooking steps. Suddenly, you can make many different meals. This focus on where words come from leads to a deeper understanding, not just a surface one. Remembering can help you pass a test, but learning word origins gives you real understanding. It gives you the background. It helps you understand the small differences in meaning between words that seem alike. For example, think of words about speaking. We have audible, which can be heard, and visible, which can be seen. Both use old word parts related to seeing. But audible comes from a word meaning to hear. The origins tell you not just what the word means, but how it connects to our senses and experiences. You start to see the beauty and skill that have shaped the English language over hundreds of years. It's like understanding why an artist painted something instead of just looking at the colors. Let's make this clear with a simple, strong example. Think of the old word part port, which means to carry. This one part is the start for many words that seem very different at first. You have transport, which we said means carrying across. Then there's import, meaning to carry in. Export means to carry out. A portable thing is something that can be carried easily. A porter is a person who carries things, especially bags. And even words like report carry the idea of bringing back information, of carrying words to someone. If you see a new word with port in it, like deportation, you can make a good guess. De often means removing or separating. So, deportation likely means carrying someone away, often from a country. This ability to guess the meaning from parts you know is very freeing. You are not just a listener, you become a word detective. Basically, understanding where words come from is like finding the secret plan of the English language. It feels less like hard work and more like an exciting adventure. It turns hard meanings into real ideas that stick with you. It gives you strong tools to handle any word, no matter how difficult it looks. It's about building a strong word list not by forcing yourself to remember, but by understanding in a smart, natural way. This is the heart of learning words by their history, unlocking the power of words by understanding their past. Once we understand why knowing word origins is so powerful, the next step is to look at the main places these building blocks come from. In the next section, we will start our journey into the old worlds of Latin and Greek, the base for so much of our English vocabulary. 4. Making vocabulary learning easier. Learning new words can feel hard. It's like trying to build a tall tower with many odd blocks. You pick up one block, a word, and try to remember it. Then you pick up another and another. This can be tiring, and the tower might not stand up well. Many of us have felt this way, seeing many new words and feeling lost. We might try to memorize lists, hoping to learn enough words quickly, but it often feels like a hard fight against many unknown words. What if there was an easier, more natural way? What if those odd blocks were not so odd? What if many were made from the same basic, strong stuff? That is what we find when we look at where English words come from. This is the main idea of learning word roots. It helps us understand words in a way that feels more like solving a fun puzzle than just memorizing. We learn to see how words are made and how they connect. Think of word roots as the basic building blocks of English. They are like the first bricks builders use for houses, or the first shapes artists use for drawings. Many words we use every day are not just random letters. They are put together using these main parts. These parts often come from old languages like Latin and Greek. When you learn these common roots, you learn more than just one word. You learn the key to understanding many words that use the same root. It's like learning the letters of the alphabet. Once you know the letters, you can read many words. This way of learning helps us see patterns instead of trying to memorize each word alone. Instead of working hard to remember a long list of single words, you can learn a few roots. Then, you can instantly understand many words that use those roots. This saves a lot of effort. It's like learning a secret code. If you know the code for water, you can understand words like aquarium, a place for water, or aquatic living. In water, you don't have to memorize aquarium and aquatic one by one. You understand the main idea of water and how it links to other ideas. Seeing these patterns makes learning feel much smarter and less like a chore. A great thing about this method is it helps you understand difficult words. Have you ever seen a long, fancy word and felt a bit worried? You might not have seen that exact word before, but if you know its roots, you can often guess its meaning. Take a word like benevolent. It sounds quite formal. If you try to memorize benevolent without knowing its roots, it's just another word to remember. But if you know that bene from Latin means good, and another part, vol, means to wish or to want, you can start to understand. Benevolent means wishing good things for others or being kind. Suddenly the word is not so strange. You use the building blocks to understand the whole thing. This ability to figure out new words gives you a good feeling of confidence. When you read and see a word you don't know, instead of feeling defeated, you can feel a bit excited. You can look for the roots you know inside it. This makes reading and learning much more fun. The frustration of trying to remember words starts to go away. You feel stronger. You realize you have a tool, a way to handle new words. It's like having a special decoder for the English language. With practice, this becomes almost automatic. Your brain starts to guess meanings of new words without you even trying hard. You might see a word like microscope. Even if you don't know scope, if you know micro means small, you can guess that a microscope is something used to look at small things. It's not always a perfect guess, but it's a much better start than having no idea. This guessing ability gets stronger with every word you look at. It makes you better at talking and writing. Let's look closer at this idea of figuring out words. Imagine you see the word audible. If you've never seen it before, it might seem completely new. You could try to memorize it, but that takes work and might not stay in your mind. But if you learned that the Latin root aud means to hear, then audible becomes much clearer. Audible means something that can be heard. You can see how this root connects to other words. Think about audience, the people who hear a show, or audio, sound itself. The root aud is the link, the main part that connects these words. Knowing aud means to hear helps you understand audible without memorizing it separately. You are not just learning one word, you are understanding an idea that applies to many words. This process changes how your brain works. When we only try to memorize single words, our brains treat each word like a separate piece of paper. That's a lot of papers to keep track of. But when we learn roots, we create folders for them. We put the root aud in a folder called hearing. Then, when we see audible, audience, or audio, we put them in the same folder. This makes our word memory much more organized and useful. Instead of thousands of separate papers, we have hundreds of folders, each with related words. This makes it easier to find and remember words because they are linked by meaning and where they came from. It's a smarter way for our brains to store and find information. Feeling overwhelmed by too many words is a big problem for many learners. It can make people feel like they are not good at languages or that English is too hard. But learning word roots offers a way around this. It's like being given a map for a big, confusing city. The map shows you the main roads and how things connect. The roots are those main roads. Once you know them, you can move around the city of English words much more easily and with less worry. You can guess where certain words might lead you, and you feel more in control of your learning. This boost in confidence is very important. It makes you want to keep learning and exploring. Let's look at another example to see how this works. Suppose you see the word transport. Many people know this word, but let's break it down. We have trans, which comes from Latin and means across or beyond. Then we have port, also from Latin, meaning to carry. So, transport literally means to carry across. This makes the word very clear. And once you know port means to carry, you can understand many other words. Think of import to carry in, export to carry out, portable able to be carried, or reporter someone who carries news. The single root port opens up a whole group of related meanings. It shows how understanding the building blocks makes learning much easier. You are not memorizing transport, import, export, portable, and reporter as separate things. You are understanding the main idea of carrying and seeing how other parts change that meaning. This method also helps us understand the small differences in word meanings. Words that share a root often have meanings that are related, but not exactly the same. By understanding the root, we can often grasp these differences more easily. For example, look at the root ject, from Latin, meaning to throw. We have words like reject to throw back, eject to throw out, project to throw forward, and interject to throw between. Each of these words has a slightly different meaning, but they all start with the basic idea of throwing. Knowing the root ject helps you tell these similar words apart and use them more accurately. This level of understanding is more than just remembering definitions. It's about truly understanding the core of a word. The great thing about learning word roots is that it uses our natural ability to see patterns. We are built to find connections and make sense of the world by seeing how things relate. When we learn words this way, we are working with our brains, not against them. It feels natural and good, like putting the last piece in a puzzle. This is why it makes learning words so much easier and more natural. It changes a task that can feel too big and boring into an interesting exploration of language. It's a journey where each new word you learn makes you understand many others better, building a strong base for your English words. This approach doesn't just add words to your knowledge. It helps you understand how language itself works, making you a more confident and skilled speaker and writer. By seeing these basic building blocks, we turn the hard job of learning more words into an exciting discovery. Each new word becomes a chance to understand the deep structure of language better. This new ability to easily figure out and understand words prepares us to explore the best places where these building blocks come from, the old languages of Latin and Greek. Conclusion: think back to a big word that suddenly made sense, like a puzzle piece fitting perfectly into place. That's what knowing where words come from can do. This book showed you that English words have a long story. By looking at their beginnings, especially from Old Latin and Greek, we can figure out a secret code. It's not just about remembering lists of words. It's about understanding the small parts that make up words. This way of learning feels easy and strong, making new words stick in your mind. You saw how one small word part can help you understand many words. This makes hard words seem less scary and makes you feel more confident as you learn more. You've been on a fun trip to see where English words started, and we're proud of you for wanting to learn more words. You learned about the cool power of word beginnings, prefixes, ending suffixes, and the main word parts roots that are used in so many words we use every day. This makes learning feel less like homework and more like being a detective, putting clues together to find the meaning. The more word parts you know, the more words you can understand. It's like having a secret language that helps you understand even the hardest words. You're not just learning words now, you're understanding how they are made, like seeing their true nature, and you like the language even more. This book gave you the tools, but the best part happens when you start using them. Think of every new word you see as a chance to explore. Look for the word parts you know when you read, when people talk, or when you hear something new. Let your curiosity lead you. When you see a word you don't know, ask yourself, where does this word come from? Keep a small book with you, or use tools on the internet to look up a word's past. The more you do this, the easier it will get. This skill doesn't just give you more words. It makes you understand things better, helps you write better, and even helps you think more carefully about what you hear and read. Discovering new things is very exciting, and it's something you can do your whole life, making your mind richer. Now you have the power to unlock the strength of English words. Go and figure them out, take on the challenge, and become a master of the language. We know that with what you've learned, you will keep learning more words and understanding English better. The journey to understand many words starts with one small word part. May you always learn more words, and may your understanding get deeper. The power of words is now truly yours.